Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Today I'm here with Technique Junkies and I'm using this sweet little Happy Easter Bunny red rubber stamp. It is so stinking cute. I love that the words are etched into the bunny like that. I love it. So I am just starting out with this square doily. It is a two-piece stencil from A Colorful Life Designs, which should also be available on the Technique Junkies website. But I just wanted a little bit. I ended up filling in almost the whole thing that I had on the paper. But yeah, I just used a little bit of the crackle paste from Ranger and Tim Holtz, and just spread it on there. Again, it's kind of loosey-goosey. Some spots are filled, some spots aren't. And then I wiped off the edges so that there wasn't any of that medium stuck over the edges, and I set it aside to dry. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of really loose watercolor painting with just some ink pads that were sitting on my desk. I've got two shades of green and then a coral. And you can see I'm just laying it down really loosey-goosey. I tapped the ink pads on my glass mat and then added some water to it and just blopped it around. And then I did some little splatters, which they actually worked this time, so yay. But I loved the coral there. I was only going to use the coral in the splatters, but I decided that I wanted some painted on there too. And to be honest, in the beginning, I thought, what have I done? Because it's kind of a muddy looking coral, and that's just the color of it. But I thought I had messed it up because it mixed in with the greens. There's my kitty. He always wants to talk when I'm talking. So anyway, here I am. I'm stamping the bunny, and he's so sweet. And I have stamped him in multiple colors, in multiple ways, and he's just adorable no matter how you use him. But I always like to give him some texture, so I think every time I've used him, I've heat embossed him. And he just is adorable. I like to just use some type of clear, and then I always have fussy cut him out. You don't have to. That's just the way that I've used him in the projects that I've created with him. And again, he's adorable. And you can choose to color in the letters in the little flower or just leave them the color of the paper that you've stamped him on, which I have always used white so far, but you can use anything. So there he is, all cut out, sitting there. And then I've cut out this frame from my stash, and I really like it. It's got like scallops on the inside and the outside, and then there's a stitching detail down the middle. But I didn't want to discard any of my panel. So I pop up the actual frame, as you can see, with that double-sided foam tape, and I go all the way around. I don't show the whole thing because you guys know how to do that. Or at least you understand the premise, even if you have not done it yet. But you just put your foam tape all the way around the frame so that it will be elevated a little bit. It'll have some depth and dimension off of the panel, the card front panel. My lips don't want to work this morning. But I add a little wet glue. I'm sure if you guys have been with me for a while, you see me use wet glue on top of foam tape frequently because it gives me just a little bit of wiggle room if I place it down and it's not where I wanted it. So here I've used that same wet glue to the actual panel, and I have adhered it straight down to the card base. So the frame is elevated and the panel is not. And then I decide that I want the bunny lifted up too, because the texture and the dimension that he has with the embossing powder wasn't enough. I needed to have him lifted up off of that beautiful background. And then because I have him kind of offset to the left, I am not about symmetry, but there's something when I do that, when I have an image offset on my cards, I feel like I need something to visually balance that out. So I'm putting the ribbon on, and I'm tying it off to the right because the bunny's off to the left. So that gives that visual symmetry, even if you don't know it when you're looking at it. And it's not necessary. That's just what pleases my eye. And I loved this green ribbon. It's kind of that yellowy green citron-y feel, and I thought that it matched that lighter green ink perfectly. So here I am, I'm using that same wet glue, and I'm just adding a little dab here and a little dab there underneath the knot and inside where it's tied, just because I don't want it to come apart. And I'm not a bows girl. I prefer knots. So that's it. Sweet and simple, right? But that Happy Easter Bunny stamp is the cutest thing. I can't get enough of it. I've made many projects with it. And you can get yours over at Technique Junkies, and I will definitely have it listed down below. So this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Technique Junkies, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.